Hello there, how are you?
Hi,
Can you please tell me your name?
Candice, Arky,
All right. So, Kansas, how old are you?
40.
You're 40 years old. All right. Candace, where did you grow up at?
I grew up on the west side of Chicago.
Okay. West side of Chicago, about where? Like, what parts?
Off of Cermak.
Okay. Okay. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Gateway of Learning.
Okay. How was your life growing up?
My life growing up, it was chaotic. It was harsh sometimes. It was sad. It was depressing. It was hurtfulness. It was trauma.
Okay.
A lot. It would be unfair a lot. My people come from a family that's mental illness and abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, mistreated. I watched my mom go through homelessness, prostitution, growing up. She was murdered when I was 8. When I lost my mother, I knew that I lost my best friend. I used to watch her go through things where nobody helped her.
Were you the only child? Did you have any siblings?
Excuse me. I have one brother. I have one sister. I have aunties. I have uncles that I don't even know, or if they don't want to know me. All I know is a little bit of people on my mother's side. And yeah, not nice. It wasn't good to my mother. My mother had a drug addiction, alcohol problem, all her life, and prostitution, and homelessness. And she'd be on the street a lot.
So, do you know what kind of drug addiction?
As I heard, she did everything. And sometimes she'd be so strung out. We'll live in hotels in one bedroom, and we would all sleep together. And sometimes she'll leave us somewhere. My sister's the oldest, so she had to call her mother, which is her grandma, and she had to pick us up. She would have to pick us up, and me and my brother would stay at her house. And those nights wasn't good. After our mom died, it got worse. My brother, I watched him went through anything like abuse. He didn't have his own room. She mistreated him. She tortured him to death. And that hurted me for years, too, because I couldn't do nothing about it. And,
I'm sorry, who did this, like, to your brother?
My mother, which is my grandma. And, she is not a nice person. She just, to my brother, she did too much that I couldn't understood. She would beat him up too much, bad. We would wear raggedy clothes. It just was ruined. You know, half off of him and all kind of shit. It just wasn't cool, you know. And I just was like, this is horrible. I'm not even.
So you said this happened, you lost your mom when you were 8 years old, right?
Yeah, and my brother was 7, yeah.
And so let's talk about high school. So when you were in high school, because I imagine that, you know, you fast forwarded from being 8 to being older. How was that?
Living with my grandma. She never let me went outside by myself. She used to try to get living with my grandma. Growing up, I was a runaway teenager. I got end up of DCF custody. Put as where as I was ward of the state. I moved out of town, out of Chicago. I was at another high school before I went to Gateway of Learning. Then I went to another high school to see where I fitted it.
So when you went out of town, where did you go?
I was in ward of the state. I was an all bad girl home, which I'm gonna be honest, it was a mistake to be there because they said I didn't have behaviors. And they put me there and I was mistreated even more. And I'm gonna say this, when I was growing up I was small. Very small. I didn't gain no weight at all and I couldn't. And my grandma mistreated me as jealousy too. And I went through that a lot. And with her. And before I even went out of town, I fell in love with a boy in grammar school before I even went to high school. And I was carrying at the same time.
So, and when you say going out of town, where did you go?
I went off to, it was called Allendale, and it was all bad girls home. And like I said,
what state? Was it in Illinois?
It was in Riverdale.
Riverdale, the south suburbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was there for some time until I got 17 and I went back home. But I was supposed to be adopted after a while. But I ended up losing my kid when I was there because staff members, they throw you down on the floor like restrain you. And my baby ended up got hurt because he body slammed me, just threw me while I was carrying. And I went through trauma with that. I went through it just was tragic for me. I felt in love with him and I wanted him to know that I was pregnant. My family acted when I was with him like they didn't want me to be with him. Some things he told me about my family. He said that my family ain't no good. He would tell me something like that. He would tell me that we're gonna get married, he's gonna get me out of this situation. I went through abuse with him real bad. He almost killed me. He beat me up so bad. A lot, every day. I went through tragic. My grandma found me on the floor. He kicked me a lot. And beat me up. and I was carrying at the same time. I went through a lot of this tragic. When I went to Allendale, I would try to tell them, can they visit me? I was so hurt to be there locked up, even though my family ain't no good to me. But I still needed them by me being, my grandma was taking my money all the time. I found out when I was 17, when I went back to her. I went into the psych ward hospital because I had a breakdown. I ended up having bipolar depression. I went into that. And they said, you have an illness. I wasn't born with an illness. I just broke down. And I told my grandma I needed to go to the hospital. She would look at me and laugh. I said, that ain't nothing wrong with me. And ignore it. And I went through, and when I went to the hospital, they told me, you've been collecting money ever since my mom died. I don't know why. They told me that. This lady came walk and she said, you have a social security number. I didn't even know. And my grandma knew it all the time. And was collecting my money. Ever since I was a little girl. And I didn't know. And she said, do you want to sue her? I said, no. I would never sue my grandma. Only little change I had at first from Social Security, and it started off was $500. That's all I had. And that's all. I couldn't survive out there to get my own apartment. I couldn't survive to really support myself until I was running away from men a lot. A lot of men would look for me to kill me, threaten me. They would say things like, don't get new clothes. Don't get your nails done, we'll kill you, or do this, or don't wear perfume because we'll hurt you, we'll kill you, or this, and threaten me a lot. I don't know why, but they would run after me. They would call me names, nasty names. I wasn't that big. A lot of people said, it's just not fair. You're not that big. And I was much smaller than this, very small. And they couldn't still while it was my world with men that want to jump on me or want to kill me. And I would feel hurt by that because it's embarrassing. And that's not who I am. I felt like my youth was gone after a while. Everything was unfair. I almost lost my life so many times. I was scared. I ran and I went to the hospital. And I was so young. And I was at Jackson Park Hospital. I was 23 years old. And at that time, I was carrying again. I came from a nursing home to Jackson Park Hospital. And my baby was half white and black. And for me, it's new to me because I didn't want the baby. And I was supposed to go to the hospital. When I got there, told the lady of the house. They all treated me differently because it was mixed baby, and he knew it. And my stomach was more bigger actually than my whole body. And I was throwing up every day. because of the baby. And I lost it after a while, and it died in me. I couldn't control it. I couldn't take myself to the hospital because I don't know how to get on the bus, which is my fault, and it is. Because, I don't know, I should have gotten more help. I should have talked to somebody, but there was nobody to help me. Nobody. They all changed on me. They treated me differently. And it was nothing I can do. And actually, like I said, I was running away, and I was getting away from men a lot. A lot of men like to scare me, chase after me, say nasty things to me. And I would get small, and I would exercise to get real small. And I would listen to that. And I remember getting used in a nursing home and outside.
So when you're in a group home, how would they transfer you to the nursing home? Would it be because, how did you get from the group home to the nursing homes?
I started after a while not wanting to pay my rent. I only had $600, and I ended up taking my money. I was my own payee, and I took my money, and I went, and I lived with this lady. I met this social worker that was out of town, and not out of town, no. Yeah, she was. She was in the suburbs. She worked in the suburbs, and she said she was going to be my payee and help me out. So I ended up going all the way on a west side suburbs. I've never been out there before. It looked real wonderful. It was a rich neighborhood, and I lived they put me in a group home out in Harvey. So the group home, they looked at me kind of funny, the people. It was like, well, is she gonna pay rent? And I would pay rent, but the lady would come and swear as the social worker. I mean, she would come as fur coat. She would come as big shot. Come to find out, she would come when she want to and just give me $50. She opened up accounts in my name. She and really hurted my heart. She had, and I told, and they kicked me out of there after a while. They said they couldn't hold me. They kept calling her until she came herself and picked me up in her car. And then she took me to her house. And I didn't want to stay there, but I just couldn't leave in a neighborhood I don't know. I felt uncomfortable in her house because I didn't want to be there. And I told her after a while. Then she put me in a group home way out in the west side suburbs, where you put your own furniture in there and everything else. This old man, which it was a woman with children, she was a mixed woman, and she looked like she was struggling herself with her children. It was really sad to me how the little kids was hungry, and she was just, men would use her too, like a dog, you know. And it was so sad to me. And I was like, and the man would come at me a lot. And he was a horrible, nasty, filthy man, you know. And I don't know what he coming at me for. And I was so young, and I didn't say nothing to him, brother. I let him know, you can't touch me, you know. And I had my other friend with me. You know, what are you bothering me for? You know, and I guess he felt like, well, I'm medium tan brown, so you could talk to me like that, or I'm gonna put up with that, And I'm like, that's crazy, you don't even know me, But a lot of black guys, they feel like that towards me, Don't want me to have nothing, don't want me to be nothing, or if I do have money, they take it, or if they feel like I'm just illiterate, because I'm in trouble with illiteracy, so bad. I have a learning disability problem. I don't catch on with books, but I can talk. And because I came out slower than my brothers and sisters. In my mother's womb, I didn't move, and she didn't know why. And when I was young, I was more slower than the kids. And there were really a lot what I would deal with, and talking was slow for me too. I had a tutorer, a special tutorer would teach me how to talk, as I was slurred trying to talk. And it just was a lot of problems, I don't know what kind of, I guess that's a mental development, disorder. I don't know, this mental retardation maybe too with it, at the same time. That's retardation, That's like a handicap. And when I was growing up, I was in handicap classes like that, And I had to be, because that's who I was. And disabledness.
But my question is, was that something that you just felt that people kept saying that about you, or you would hear that and you believed it?
It's not that I felt like I believed it. I really did. But and people would tell me that, hey, that's not disabled, know how to read and write and spell, or that was teenagers too, like, hey, you just like us. You just have a learning disability. You're not like them handicapped people, but that is me for real. Somebody told me this, it's not too long ago, was like, you are the same. That's development, disorder.
So
that's just like somebody that has a disableness, if they go to a program for like for how you say it, them can't, like Down syndrome, something like that.
Mentally disabled.
Yeah, mental disabled. That's what I am.
And so when was you diagnosed with being mentally disabled? Was it
as a baby?
Really?
Yeah.
So not when you had the breakdown.
No.
Mm-mm. So that was something that you already had been diagnosed with before that time.
Yeah.
Okay. So you growing up, did you ever try to get a job or?
Yeah, I tried to get a job, but I didn't know my routes. I didn't know how to do anything for myself, really. If I needed clothes, a lot of time I would call my sister, my cousin. They would have to mail it. They had to drop it off. If I would buy my clothes myself a lot of times, which they did, was expensive. And Nike shoes, or I would really spend some quality time for myself, as spending, on my hair and all that, getting it done. A lot of people was like, well, how do she look like that? I'm at the so yeah. But I would take my money and spend it on me, and I couldn't get a job, I felt like, because I didn't have any skills. I would try to call up escort services, but not no strip jobs because I didn't know nothing about stripping at all. I couldn't do stripping. Even though I found myself in the strip club when I was much younger. And at that time, I was 20 something and I was running away from a shelter. And I ended up at a strip club by accident. And they offered me the job there, but I told them I need to call the hospital. And I sat there and called the hospital.
So
and I got picked up by the ambulance.
So they diagnosed you with bipolar, right?
When I was 17.
When you were 17, okay.
Yeah.
So how?
But they really diagnosed me when I was 15 with schizophrenic.
Okay.
And hearing voices. So I was schizophrenic.
So when did you know that you were schizophrenic?
You know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really feel like I was schizophrenic. Yeah, I heard voices. Yeah, I saw things in my sleep. You know? But at the same time, I had a grandma that had a mental illness. So she would holler out and throw things on me like salt, water, throw it behind my bed a lot. She would holler out demons a lot. She would say demons, demons, demons. And she would open up her door, put on church things and like not like church channel 38 or whatever, and she would say all this stuff. This woman really was sick in the mind frame.
Was she ever diagnosed with mental illness?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
What?
Bipolar depression.
Okay.
She's born with it.
Okay. So take me so okay, you're in your 20s. So you say you're 40 now, right?
Yeah.
So talk about, your 30s. How was your 30s?
My early 30s was like I was drinking, smoking. I started drinking and smoking at the age of 17. I was an alcoholic then and a drug addict. Still addicted to drugs and smoking when I was in my early 30s. I would go out and a lot of times I'm going to say a lot of gang members would want to have sex with me a lot. And like I said, I would get stopped. And I would notice the other men, like regular men, you know what I'm saying? I would want them. They would look, but they wouldn't talk to me. But the gang members would make sure they would talk to me, and I didn't want that kind of attention or exposed. But I noticed I got called a bitch word a lot, a female dog. Like I was a skinny bitch in that organization of a gang. And that's all I would know. And I would hang with them. And I didn't know no better. I had to really learn that I'm different than them. And I don't belong in that. Even when I told them that, I didn't. They steady still grabbed me as well. I'm a female dog. And they would call me that.
So this is in your 30s, and you said...
And actually it was in my 20s too. Yeah, it was my 20s. And it started out when I was 17, and when I was out there. And when I was 17, I would hop in cars a lot, which was dangerous.
So what kind of drugs and alcohol?
Just marijuana. I was addicted to marijuana. And I was an alcoholic. I would drink so bad till I would pass out.
Wow. So this is so do you think that was the drinking an escape for you, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you were telling me earlier about like your health and how you are now.
Yeah.
So walk me through that story of you in Jackson Park. That like walk me through what you were telling me earlier.
I was telling you that I had a problem where I couldn't get no sleep. I was like a zombie for days and months. I didn't know what to do. I was going through a lot in my years too. Is that my strength will leave me too. I will, and I'm still weak to this day. I was more tougher growing up. And I don't know. Just one day, I collapsed. I felt more weaker. I went through so much in my life where strength. I had strong strength so much when I was diagnosed with bipolar because the mood that I was in. When you bipolar, you get moody. And it can develop hurting people sometimes. And that's what I was in stage of. So she had no choice to take me to the hospital.
So you would physically hurt people?
I could have, but I didn't. My grandma would find me as where I'm throwing big old jars of glass. I would lift it up out the window. And I would bust it and then just throw it out because I would end up in that rage to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so where I couldn't control my strength. It just was all in me. I didn't know what to do myself. People saw that and they said, you need to get some help for your granddaughter. That's, because she looked like she about to hurt somebody. Sometimes she would have to call the police because I would beat up the police for no reason, out of rage. They handcuffed me to the pole. They really did. They handcuffed me, put to her, and I broke out of it. That's just how strong I was.
Wow. When you said that you couldn't get no sleep, do you know how long it was that you were in that state where you wasn't getting any sleep?
I would say some weeks, some months, maybe about months or maybe weeks. Some weeks, yeah.
Was there a time that you wasn't taking any medication, or how does what led up to that?
I was taking medication. I was taking psych medication, and then I was taking health medication. Me diagnosed with diabetes too, type 2, and my edema with diabetes type 2 swelling up. I started getting worse when I started swelling up. And all my life, even trying to lose weight to do it, I will find things to do it, to lose it, but and lose it for good. I mean, yeah, a woman can exercise and get off her butt and do it. But it's so many men that stress me out too much. I got more bigger. It's too much. They come at me too much. Even if I'm at the gym by myself, trying to focus on me, they come at me too much. Too much harassment. They stare. The first thing they doing is staring, walking up to me, and it's in rage. I noticed it. And I noticed a woman too stare at me and look at me as hatefulness at the same time. It looked like, as I found out as I got a little older, that a lot of these women seem like to let a man set off on me too. So that happens too. And I go through that a lot. Having my first apartment in 2021, I don't know what the heck it was, but some woman came after me and was jealous. She was hating on me. And I don't know for what. I didn't do nothing to her.
How was she hating?
She would come at my door a lot, and she would offer me. She came at my door with another friend of mine that I met at the shelter, and she introduced herself to me. Was like, "Oh, I eat a lot. I'm a big girl too," and smiled in my face. I don't know what that meant. I don't know why she said it like that, you know. And I just looked at her and I was like, "Wow, it seemed like you're jealous of me." And I'm like, "This is a beautiful woman, and she's mixed biracial, and she has good hair, and I don't know why she's jealous of me."
So how do you feel like she's jealous because of what she said, or what is she?
Yeah, the way she came at me. Yeah, she was like, "I'm a big girl." Other words, it's like, "Well, I get men, but really, you got problems with men. Come to find out." You know what I'm saying? And take it out on other women. This is what I was finding out from her. And she came after me, and she called I had to call 10 police officers on her. And she told me before they even came, they already know her, and they're not going to do nothing to her. She had a guy came up on me and hit me first, before she even hit me in the back of my head and tried to stab me with scissors. The police lied, and somebody actually lied when they hold her back, the security, and he saw her, and he said she didn't do it in front of the police, even though they were smiling at me while she was yelling and saying, "I harassed her 6 months, and then I did not stay there 6 months. Because if I stayed there 6 months at this apartment, that means my lease is up anyway." And this was all the way in, where was it? January or February. No, it was in February. And 2021. And I was going through a lot of hell with this lady. She kept knocking on my door for no reason. She kept offering me something to smoke and something to drink. Disturbing me. Then she goes in line and says, "I'm disturbing her."
So did you were you into any type of like intimate relationship with her, or they were just friends? Or?
You know what? The only thing I had was a conversation with her, and I would knock on her door if what would I do? I think I would knock on the door for just to ask her something or something like that. Like, did she have anything to smoke or something like that? Drink sometimes, you know, but other than that, it really didn't go too far with the drinking, but it went with the smoking. I didn't ask her for drinking, but she would offer me to drink, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I would notice a lot of the men will bother me a lot too. Up in there, they harassed me too much, and it was inappropriate behavior.
So tell me more about what happened to you in 2018. You were telling me that.
Yeah, the guy, he had full-blown AIDS, and like I said, I was couldn't get no sleep, and I went to call the hospital, and they took me to Jackson Park Hospital. And when I went to Jackson Park Hospital, they gave me good sleep with medication. So I was thinking they was going to give me the same medication, knowing that I needed it. And I don't know why they did that to me, but Jackson Park like to bother me too and harass me a lot when I get there too. I noticed that a lot. I noticed the ambulance do the same. The police do the same thing too. I cannot trust no one. And then, like I said, and I couldn't trust no one. So when I came back to the group home, like I said, I looked at the boy, He looked at me, and I turned around and I didn't look at him. So he came and he got into the kitchen while I was sitting there. Like I said, I went to the room, tried to rest, but I couldn't. I stayed up for wee hours in the morning. I couldn't take it no more. And he went and told me, well, if you have sex with me, you'll go to sleep. Now, I know this is the dumbest thing to do, but any woman probably wouldn't do it if they was in my shoes. I don't know what would they do. I wouldn't have done it with him. He was so friendly to me. I didn't think he had full-blown AIDS. He didn't look it to me. And I got sick. Like I said, I went to a nursing home. After a while, went to Ingles Hospital, and they just put me in a nursing home. And I told them, I want a nursing home. I don't feel good in this group home. There's a lot of chaos with him. He kept hollering out. It's like he was stalking me. He told the whole neighborhood about me, and which was inappropriate what he said about me. He told all the guys, and it's just a lot of trouble with him.
So you met him in a hospital. Was he a patient?
No, not a hospital, group home.
A group home.
Yeah.
He was in the group home with you? Like
yeah, it was co-ed. Yeah.
Okay. So how has life been since you contracted HIV? Or no, you said full-blown AIDS.
Yeah.
How has life been since then?
One thing I'm gonna say is it's not the best. People look at us like still call me beautiful. They still say, as well as they treat me, I tried to get help for me to go for my treatments. A lot of doors was turning me down and disrespecting me. They wouldn't talk to me. They would talk to me and tell me when they took the blood, and they would say, try our hospital, like Holy Cross said, that was the first one. And they say, you really need it, and they act like they cared. When I was to call them for the pickup ride, the person talked to me, said he was going to do the transportation, my social worker there. He lied. He just lied. You know, and then I met a lady. I met a lady at Holy Cross. She did the same thing to me. And played games. It was nothing but games. All because they say I don't look it. That's the first thing people say. You don't look like you have full-blown AIDS.
So.
And they don't treat me and to this day they don't.
So you were telling me how difficult it's been for you.
It's very difficult.
For you struggling financially.
It is. Financially, all I get is $849. About life, I don't know if I could ever go to school one day. I don't know if I could ever do the things that I want to do, to even hobbies, to even be happy a little bit. I don't know what. I feel like I don't want to do nothing but just commit suicide all the time, mostly. I don't see life as good. I don't see life as good at all. Even being happy in love, I don't see nothing. Nothing. I don't see nothing. I'm so angry that I'm 40 years old and my life passed me by. And not one time one family helped me when I'm on the street and I need, and I'm out here alone by myself in the cold or rain. Nowhere to go. And I can't call nobody. Not one time they pick up the phone. It's a nightmare.